you think you're ready to show your track? Join the forum at www.artfxstudios.com/forum.
Hey guys, welcome back to ARTFX Tutorial Tuesday. Last week I started working on the breakdown section of the track. This week I'm going to continue with this. First, I copy over my crash sample to the start of the breakdown. This gives the breakdown a bit more impact, and since I'm aiming for a high energy track, that is the thing I want. Okay, so now I'm going to search two samples and then I'll get back at you. Right. So these are the two samples I found in some sample packs available at Loopmasters. The samples are coming from the Wave Alchemy Sound Effects Collection 2 sample pack. I'll put the link to the product page in the description box below. So this is the first sample, a nice downsweep. And this is the second sample. It sounds a bit cinematic. Okay, so let's start with the big cinematic drum hit first. If I zoom in on the start of the sample, you can see that the sound has a very short attack which sucks you into the big hit. Let's move this over so that the big hit lies exactly underneath the bass chord combination. Okay, so that was way too loud. Let's take the volume down a bit. Okay, so I want the sound to be fairly short, so I take off the tail section of the sample and then I play around with the fade to fade out the sound. I'm also going to take off all the low frequencies with an EQ8 so that it doesn't clashes with the kick and the bass. I'm also going to send this track to the delay return track to give it some more rhythm. I also changed the timing of the delay to 1/4 on both left and right channels. This sounds a lot smoother, but keep in mind that if you change the send track delay timing, you're also gonna change that for all the other tracks which are sent to that same delay. Now I'm also going to create a third return track on which I will load up Rob Papen's Reverb. The link to the product page of this plugin is in the description box below. This will be my main reverb plugin that I will use throughout the track, but Live's built-in reverb will work just as good. So I think the delay is a bit too far up front, so I turn down the send amount a bit, and then I raise the send amount for the reverb a lot, so we can start sculpting the reverb. Reverb comes with an outstanding list of presets which sound very good, so there's not really that much sculpting to do, but if you use the built-in Ableton reverb, then keep in mind that you just need to copy the settings for the decay time and the room size. Okay, so for the preset, let's find one in the drums and percussion bank. I thought one of these hip snare presets actually sounded pretty well. Let's see. Ah yeah, the third one has a longer decay and sounds pretty good. Okay, so now I add a saturator after the reverb. Then when I turn up the drive, the reverb is going to get a lot louder. Try it, it sounds pretty cool. Now I just play around a bit and try different positions and lengths for this sound. I actually think I want it even shorter. But note, I have to adjust the fade again, otherwise the attack of this sound will get quieter. Then I copy over the clip without the attack to the other parts of the breakdown. I only want the attack to happen at the first hit. Also on the reverb send track I add an EQ8 at the end of the chain to chop off the sub and low frequencies, otherwise it might muddy up the track a bit. Now I can introduce the downsweep sample. Let's put the track on solo and add an EQ8. In this sample there are quite a lot low frequencies, which I don't need. So I take those off and create a very light downsweep that only uses high frequencies. Then I add a saturator afterwards. Put it on the soft sine saturation type and turn up the drive. This makes the downsweep a bit more distorted and loud. Now I don't like the reverb hits in between, so I get rid of those and only use the reverb hit to introduce the new section of the track. So, onto the chords. These are the chords used in the breakdown section. I quite like them, although I want to change up the second part a bit. Sometimes transposing one chord different can already be enough to make things more interesting. As you can see, I just transposed this single chord up. Also I changed one note because it ended up on a black key, which is not in the A minor scale. Okay, so now I'm going to add some more percussion to the breakdown. I do this to keep the momentum going even though we have arrived at the breakdown. I want to keep the pace going instead of stopping it entirely. I found this low drum sound in the same Wave Alchemy pack. First, let's add some reverb to this drum hit by sending it to the reverb send channel. That brings out a lot more character in the drum sound. So now I can just copy and arrange a nice rhythm pattern with this single sample. I really like this kind of pattern. Let's also add in a fast double hit at the end to spice things up a little bit. So now I can copy over this pattern to fill up the entire breakdown section. Great! As you can hear, the breakdown now has a more driving element which keeps the pace going. I'm now going to automate an EQ on this track so that it low passes the drums in the start and then gradually brings them up. I'm going to do the same for the amount of reverb, so the reverb gets more intense and defined when the filter opens up. Now I'm going to zoom out and select the entire breakdown part I made so far, and I press Ctrl+D on my keyboard to duplicate the selection. This is going to be the second part of the breakdown. Now I'm going to take the big reverb hit and copy it over so it creates an extra hit during this part of the breakdown, like so. Nice! That was it for this week's tutorial. Don't forget to register at the forum if you want some more feedback and if you think you're ready to showcase your music to me and the other members. See you next week.